Good afternoon. We are live. I've got Michelle and I've got a song for her. Tommy used to work on the docks. The union's been on strike. He's down on his luck. He is tough. So tough. She said we gotta hold on to what we've got. It doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. We got each other and that's a lot for love. We'll give it a shot. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on a prayer. That's it. I can't do the song justice, but I want to spend time with you, Michelle. So the program is all about you, not the song. So thank you for joining me.
You did really well. Well done.
Why did you choose? My first question is always, why did you choose that song?
Okay. Because of what I do, Dementia Prevention UK, quite a lot of people believe that if they will hope and they will pray, things will be okay. But actually, there are so many things that people can do in order not to have dementia. So praying is important, faith is important, but taking control and action is also important.
I love that. I love that. That is brilliant. A real message there, Michelle. Thank you so much. Okay, so you've already mentioned dementia. Tell us who you are, what you do, and a little bit about yourself, please.
Okay, so I'm Michelle. I'm the founder of Dementia Prevention UK. It is a young charity. We're 1 year old almost. Yes, and what we are here to do is to deliver the message that dementia can be prevented. And we're working on community level, which means that we work with communities, with individuals within communities to help them understand how they can prevent dementia. So that's what I'm here to do. I'm really happy to deliver that message.
No, fantastic. And look at your smile. Absolutely fantastic. You're infectious. Absolutely infectious. I love this. If anyone's got any questions, please. Singing for the brain. Look, Richard, absolutely. And I guess this is one of the, we have spoken before, and learning tough new songs is for me, tough for me is really good for my brain, isn't it? So I'm sure we're going to cover that as well, aren't we?
Yes, we will. Stimulating the brain is one of the 5 pillars of brain health, and it is really, really important. I don't think that people value that much. No, it's as important as eating well, sleeping well, and taking your vitamins.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think living on a prayer, we all sort of like think, oh, when we get old, we're going to lose our marbles, and we don't have to. And you're going to tell us all about that. But meanwhile, I just want a few quick questions about LinkedIn. What do you like about LinkedIn, Michelle?
It's very easy to use. Hi all, Jonathan Cohen. It's really easy to use. It's friendly. And you can post there your thoughts and your ideas, and you can create communities and join groups. It's a really great platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're putting content out regularly?
Yes, at least twice a week.
Fantastic. So how much time do you reckon you spend on LinkedIn, Michelle?
Well, creating content takes a long time. So that's one thing. I would say it's at least 1 day a week I create content for social media, which is, for us, it is LinkedIn and Facebook, because that works with our target audience. And yeah, actual LinkedIn, I was told to do the rule of 3-2-1. 3 likes, 2 comments, and 1 to upload 1 thing. So that is what I try to do on LinkedIn.
Oh, well done. Well done.
That takes about, I don't know, half an hour when I upload my content. So twice a week. Yeah, it's a lot of time to spend on social media.
But the thing is, you've got an important message and you have to get it out. You have to get it out there.
Yes.
When I first met you, it's like, dementia prevention? Really? So come on, let's get straight into that. Do you get people that are skeptical because you talk about dementia prevention?
Yes, so I am very much aware that part of my role is not just to develop the brand, but to educate the public that dementia is actually a preventable disease, just like cardiovascular disease, some of the cancers. So we're already aware that there are some things that we can do in order to improve our health, and dementia is one of those things, one of those diseases, and there are things that we can do. We can take action. And yeah, people are very afraid of dementia, and the field of prevention, and I don't blame them, is dementia prevention is only 14 years old and was mainly developed in the US. So it arrived here not long ago, and people are just slow in getting to understand that. But once we discuss the details, they say, well, actually, it does make sense. Well, dementia can be prevented. So
Yeah, it's pretty obvious that obesity can be prevented because you just don't eat so much and you exercise more. You know, that's the very basics. I'm not a health expert, so please nobody start shouting at me. But when we start thinking of dementia, we think of, well, I think of my granny. I think of my granny. She said to me donkeys years ago, she was lovely, and yesterday the funeral and everything brought it all back. And she was a lovely, lovely lady. And she said to me, when I lose my marbles, can you take me for a short walk, like a long walk down a short pier? And it broke my heart because she did actually lose her marbles. She lived to a ripe old age, but you know, there's still people that age. The Queen, yeah, she was still working 2 days before she died. She never lost her marbles. So that I'm not in the position of my granny and everybody watching and listening today, what things can we do, Michelle, to prevent dementia?
Okay, so first I will start by stating that there is no blame and there is no shame around dementia. So, like any other disease, we can do everything to prevent it. We can take action, but at the end of the day, our body reacts the way the body reacts. So, it's really, really important to know that even if your grandmother or both my grandmothers had dementia, they didn't do anything wrong. They just lived their lives in a certain way. And unfortunately, that was the end result of it. So there are five, as I said, 5 pillars of brain health. The first one is physical health, which is really important. Make sure that you're healthy. Make sure that you go to the GP regularly. Make sure that you have your blood tests. Make sure that you know what your blood pressure looks like. So that's one. Under that one, we have physical health. So both you and I are standing now, and standing is really important. We breathe better. We make sure that our core is engaged. So physical health is important. The second one is mental health. And mental health plays a big role in what we decide to do and how much energy we have to invest in ourselves. So mental health is the second one. The third one is nutrition. And I'm not saying, well, eat only healthy food, but know why you're eating, how much you're eating, what are the reasons for it, and make sure that the reasons are good enough. So I'm not saying go and have lettuce and kale all day long, but just make sure that in that plate there are some interesting beneficial things. Then we have keeping social, and we also COVID, what it has done to us. So keeping social is really, really important. A quick anecdote. And really interesting research found that if you're meeting people that make you happy, not those annoying friends, but if you're meeting people that make you happy, your cognitive ability actually rises for 3 whole days. And this is something that I share with students. If you have this big exam coming up, meet your friends. It is as important as studying for the exam because that will help you. And the last one is stimulating your brain. Now, we're all having a really busy life and we think, oh, our brain is so stimulated. No, it's not stimulated. It's built with so much routine. We wake up at the same time. We do the same things. We eat the same things. We socialize with the same people. Routine. Routine is not something that the brain is happy with. Stimulation is something that the brain is happy with. Stimulation means that you can't multitask, that you need to stop, you need to plan, you need to focus, and only then you can execute. So anything that you can do in order to stimulate your brain during the day, that would be amazing. So reading materials that you naturally wouldn't read, So, for example, if someone really likes history, if they will read more history, that's part of the routine. There is no stimulation there. Go and read about art. Go and read about geography. Go and read about things that are outside your comfort zone. So what I'm saying, whatever you're doing, push that comfort zone a little bit further away, and you will see that it is taxing. Stimulating the brain is taxing on the brain. It's not the usual things that you do. So these are the 5 pillars that I recommend everyone to kind of follow. Try to follow.
No, I think that's absolutely brilliant. So Jonathan's really into this. He's the singing accountant, right? So he's saying when he goes into a nursing home, he's going to get them. They're all going to be singing "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time" or "Your Sex Is on Fire." So I look forward to those days, Jonathan. But you're not going to be there because you're going to be you're going to be you're going to prevent it because you're going to do all this stuff. So his question is to you: do you feel that all types of dementia are preventable?
Okay, so I will go to one thing before. So we are looking at dementia actually between the age of 20 to 45. We know that dementia starts in the brain between 30 and 40 years before a person shows symptoms. So the people that are already in the home, there is that much that we can do. So in this kind of, 3 decades, there is so much that can be done in order to prevent dementia. And definitely we can prevent all types of dementias with the right lifestyle. And again, it's not 100% because this is biology and our brain and our body does all sorts of weird things. But in general, we know that if we follow those 5 pillars of brain health, we know that we have better chances of not developing dementia later on in life. And we can see, by the way, that there are less numbers of people living with dementia today because we have better food and we have better education. And please God, there will be no more wars. So we live in a comfortable, relatively comfortable environment. And that relatively comfortable environment delivers relatively comfortable brain that can fight any diseases that comes in its way.
Oh, I love that. I've just really thought of something really off the wall here. In the olden days, we didn't live so long because we had hard lives. We didn't have a comfortable life, etc., etc., etc. And I really don't know what the life expectancy was, 200 or 300 years ago. But would you have found people having dementia back then? Is it because we're living longer and we've got a more sedate lifestyle that we've got more dementia, or were there cases of dementia, 200, 300, 400 years ago?
I assume there were. Neurodegenerative disease is not something that is new. So I assume there was something. Dementia can come as a result of stress and poor nutrition. So I assume it was back then too. Alzheimer's disease was coined by Alzheimer only 100 years ago. So as a disease, it's a new disease to learn from. And definitely there is a link between older age and neurodegenerative diseases, but also older age and cancer. Some people say, some scientists say that maybe we're just living too long. At this point, we live longer, but the quality of life is not necessarily longer as well. So if we're looking at someone between the age of 70 and 90, so yes, if we're looking, 30, 40, 50 years ago, that person would have already died. But we're prolonging that lifespan. But what is the quality? What does that person has between the age of 70 and 90? And if I'm looking at my grandmothers, to be honest, lots of hospitals, lots of confusion, and not that much quality of life. So that is another thing that we need to kind of put in this equation.
Jonathan's said a great statement there. And I guess this is why we're living on a prayer, isn't it? People are living longer today. That's why we're taught that the brain may fail well before other organs. And you're saying that it doesn't need to.
Well, the brain, I would say science-wise, we just recently understood or we start to understand the connection between the gut and the brain. So I, I, for myself, believe I'm not a scientist. From everything that I read, I think that everything kind of fails at the same time. And it's just the things that we can see are the ones that we say that fail first. But there are a lot of things that are just failing slowly, and it's not necessarily the brain first. I would say it's our digestive system, it's our cardiovascular system, and if we don't get the right nutrition and enough blood to our brain, then we see that something is wrong with that person. But it's long before that.
No, great. Okay, thank you. So we've got another question here. Is there a difference between men and women to prevent dementia? What a great question, Maital. Thank you.
Oh, Maital, bless you. Thank you. The question of the hour. Okay, so 2/3 of people living with dementia are women. And it's not because they live longer. So that's something that is really important. And definitely, unfortunately, the reason that women experience, one of the main reasons that women experience more dementia is menopause. We know that estrogen is this amazing hormone. It's the queen of hormones, and it helps us fight so many things, and it is responsible for so many processes in the body. And when we go through menopause, we're losing that hormone that protects our brain and protects other organs in the body. One of them is our heart, for example. So we know that the fact that we don't have estrogen anymore, that increases the risk of women quite a lot in having dementia. So there is a difference between the plan for women to prevent dementia and the plan for men to to prevent dementia, definitely. So HRT, if you can have it, that is something that I would highly recommend for women to explore. Quite a lot of women say, oh, I don't need it. I don't have the symptoms of menopause or premenopause, so I don't need it. You will get to the conclusion that you need it when you have such a deficiency that there isn't that much that can be done. Please start treating yourself when you just start feeling any of the symptoms, of the hundreds of symptoms of menopause. Go and check and make sure that you protect your brain. So thank you, Maital, for this amazing question.
No, that's a great question. So Jonathan's not a neuroscientist. But we accept heart failure, liver failure. Society doesn't expect the brain to go first. No, you're quite right, Jonathan. It doesn't. Anything you want to say on there, Michelle?
Oh, I don't know what to say. It's quite depressing. I'm not sure that we accept. I think it goes back to how old dementia is, and the fact that we know that there are neurodegenerative diseases and they are now separate from mental health diseases. And I think that is why some people will look at it differently. But, we can't see very well. That's our connections. We can't hear very well. That's, again, our connections. Or if you look at, for example, athletes, they stop performing when they are in their 40s. That is the brain. It is just slower. Things are getting harder. They can't run as fast. They can't react as fast. Not just them, also us. They probably can react much faster than any other person that wasn't an athlete before. But we can see that the brain is unfortunately deteriorating as we age. We just don't like talking about it. We have some workshops that we do with organizations, and organizations just don't want to hear about the fact that their employees peaking at the age of 27, and after the age of 27, their cognitive ability declines. Just like, no, our employees are fine. Everyone is fine here. We can still manage. But actually, if we're not stimulating the brain, if we're not creating the right brain health environment for our employees, we can't continue enjoy them as much as we can, and we can't continue enjoy ourselves. That is why it is so important to not look at dementia as this is something for old people. Actually, this is something for young people. This is for all of us to start working yesterday, not tomorrow.
Okay. You are so passionate. I love this. This is great. So I retire, all right, and I don't have to go to work anymore. So I'll watch Homes Under the Hammer in the afternoon. I quite like that. So I'll sit there and watch that. And then I might watch Antiques Roadshow or whatever it is on the afternoon. And then I might do a Sudoku puzzle. I might walk down the road to get my paper. Surely that's enough brain stimulation every day, Michelle.
Well done. Thank you so much. No. So it's really important not to retire. If you can, please hold your jobs for as long as you can. So people that are working with me, what we do is we build this retirement plan, and we say, okay, so you don't need to work your, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. It's over. You've done your share. That's fine. But maybe you can work 3 times a week. Maybe you can work twice a week. And then we are reducing that. But at the same time, we're building something else into the schedule. Don't just sit on the sofa and say, okay, I've done my share. Now the world can come and help me, make me happy. That doesn't work. The brain just dies. There is a really interesting protein in the brain. It's called BDNF. The BDNF is really an interesting one because it only protects the brain if it feels that the brain is a brain that is worth living for. Okay, so it's a little bit tricky. So if you're sitting and watching the telly and not stimulating your brain and not, engaging in social activity and not engaging in physical activity, then that DBNF kind of dies with your brain. But if you are engaged in social activity and you're going out and you're meeting people, and you're not necessarily meeting people that you like, but you're meeting people that maybe you can debate with, and you can have a really amazing, passionate argument, that is great. That is stimulating your brain. You need to find those things that stimulate your brain. Reading is amazing. Walking is amazing. Joining any classes that, again, are not part of what you usually do, it's amazing. Get out of the house. Don't sit on the sofa. If you want to sit on the sofa and you want to watch the telly, have a lovely notebook with you. Write some questions for yourself about the era, about the actor, about the music, about the clothes, whatever it is you're interested about, and then go and Google those questions and find those answers. That's a great way to take an activity that is not stimulating into activity that is actually stimulating. I'm not saying, myself, I'm not all day jumping around and stimulating my brain. No, it will burn. But we need to know that there are certain times in the day that we need to stimulate our brain. Brushing your teeth, your non-dominant hand. Cooking dinner with your non-dominant hand. Even you operating the remote with your non-dominant hand. Try to kind of build these things into your day-to-day life. And you will see, put notifications on your phone. Again, I'm not a superstar. I have notifications on my phone. What have I done today in order to stimulate my brain? It is super important. So please don't just retire and sit back. That's horrible. And Sudoku, by the way, is not a stimulating activity. If I can say it a million times more, Sudoku is not a stimulating activity. You're just doing more of the same, and you're doing a lot of the same, which again, it's just routine. It's not stimulating. Yeah, I'm with you.
Fantastic. Absolutely superb. You actually stood on a soapbox. You just stood on the floor there. This is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. We need more of you. We need more of you. So Richard and Jonathan are having their own private conversation. Richard's talking about we're not going to be able to retire anyway because of the cost of living crisis. But then Jonathan's slapped him on the back and said, actually, stimulation and working aren't mutually exclusive. And that's the thing, isn't it? Is you've got to be doing things, to stimulate your brain. And this is where CrossFit comes in, isn't it? This is back to exercise now. Someone who walks regularly will turn around and say, oh, I walk 10,000 steps every day, therefore I'm fit. someone who does CrossFit just for, I don't know, 10 minutes every day or an hour twice a week or something, they're getting so much more benefit because they're exercising every part of their body. And this is what you're saying with this brain activity. If I do Sudoku is okay if I do Sudoku, but as long as afterwards I do a crossword and then I read a book on, I don't know, history, because I don't read books on history. Yeah. Then I'm really stimulating my brain because it's different. And then tomorrow I do Wordle or something else. That's the thing. But it's making sure that you do a mix of stuff. And when you say nutrition, all right, yes, you can go and have a burger, but as long as you've eaten some, some proper green stuff and some, blueberries and what have you with it as well, or later on, then it's all about a balance, isn't it?
Exactly. What I suggest is to have this imaginary seesaw in your brain. What are the things that I'm doing in order to prevent dementia, and what are the things that I'm doing in order to increase my risk? And definitely, I like burgers and ice cream and chocolate and cookies, and the list can go on forever. But the important thing is to balance it. So if I know that I have one day I'm going to a big party and I'm going to indulge myself because I'm a human being, then the next day or the rest of the week, I know that maybe I need to eat a little bit more blueberries and a little bit more, red cabbage in order to make sure that the inflammation in my gut will be minimized. So it's always that element of education. If I'm educated, if I know what I need to do, that I'm making the right choices for myself. And for some people, yes, work is not stimulating. Then you know what? When you're going to work, maybe you should stop one stop ahead in the tube and walk the rest of the way to work and do the same way back. So you get some walking, some movement. You can read something interesting on the tube or whatever way of transportation you're taking. You can listen to different types of music. By the way, if you're always listening to the same type of music, it's not really stimulating. It's very soothing. So maybe listening to something that will make you a little bit upset. No, I don't really like that. And then think, why don't I like it? What is in there that I don't like? There are so many ways during the day that you can do, even if your work is not that stimulated. Solving mathematical problems while you're doing something that is boring. There is always a way. There is always a way.
I love this. This is supposed to be 15 minutes behind the profile, right? We've literally overrun by more than what we should do. It's not a problem.
I didn't even notice. Sorry.
Right. No, it's not a problem. Will you come back? Will you do this again with me?
Oh, I would love to. Yes.
Right. Well, we'll make that happen. But I do need to go. Before I go, I've got one more question I want to ask you about. I just want to let everybody know who's the guest next week. And if anyone's got any questions, please put them in now for me, please. How do I get rid of that one there? It's that one there I want to do. I'm just going to go to who I've got next week. I have got Dawn Jarvis coming to join me next week. So she calls herself an intelligence consultant, but she's a lovely, lovely lady. Looking forward to having a proper chat with her next week. So she'll be here next week. We've still got Michelle here. We've still got some more questions coming in. Richard's saying that playing the guitar, heart and mind engage with that activity. Absolutely. So yeah, basically, Michelle's given me the green light to keep playing music. So my wife is quite happy with me doing that anyway. How can people get hold of you, Michelle?
So it's info at dementiapreventionuk.com. Really, really easy. Or just go to our website, Dementia Prevention UK. So that's also easy.
And LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn, Michelle Reshef LinkedIn, or Dementia Prevention UK LinkedIn. Yes, definitely.
Perfect. I've still got this one question, but just one tip. What's the key takeaway message you want to give everybody today, Michelle?
The foundation for everything is to sleep well. If you don't sleep well, it means that there are some things that are not working, and you should look at that. So sleeping well is a foundation. So make sure that you sleep well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Right. So my question then is, what advice would you give the 16-year-old Michelle?
Keep on being blunt.
Brilliant. We love you being blunt. Michelle, you've been an absolute star today. Thank you so much. Please go back into all the comments and drop in all of your contact details so people can get hold of you, and you will be on my show again. You're an absolute delight. I thoroughly enjoyed today. Thank you so much, and thanks to the guys for all those questions.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Ashley, for having me. It was really a joy.
Fantastic. Thank you. Bye-bye.